Um, it's nighttime. It's after 5, I think. Let me see. I'm looking at the clock. It's 8:40. Ha! Look, nighttime. Here, marble coaster with rhinestones. Unbelievable. Anyway, there was something as a follow-up. If you'd seen the earlier video of when the wrestler beat the shit out of me, something very strange happened after that. The professor who had read my papers on my position on anti-religion and God wanted me to meet with a professor who had been brought in by the University of Iowa Writers Workshop for the first time, and his name was Kurt Vonnegut. And what you don't realize is that Kurt Vonnegut in the 50s had already written a lot of his major works, including Slaughterhouse-Five and the short stories Welcome to the Monkey House. When the University of Iowa offered him a position as professor, it saved his financial life. It saved his family, because he was essentially unpublished and not making any money at all. And he was so dispirited that he was subject to profound depression, and he was ready to give up writing. If you can imagine that. And the professorship saved him. It saved his life, it saved his family, it gave him money, it gave him some status, and it gave him some turf to begin to develop his career as a published author. And the rest is history. He is one of the single most astounding science fiction writers, social commentators in the 20th century. So my professor wanted to introduce me to him. And I did not know much about him, or much about anything for that matter. And he asked if I was willing to meet him, and we did. In downtown Iowa City at a little bar. Downtown, again, Iowa City is like this tiny little 35,000 people. The population of the university was 20,000. There were almost more students in the university than there were people in town. So we met in a bar, and Kurt had read my work, and he offered me a position in the Writers' Workshop and said that they could guarantee me support in developing my career. And since I was a belligerent, anti-establishment, anti-authority wise ass, and nobody could help me because it was impossible, I refused. I told him I want to be a visual artist. I don't want to be a writer. And he accepted that. And oddly enough, back in the Department of Fine Arts, I also ran into incredible trouble. I got along great with my professors, but there was an art history professor with whom I went to war in the middle of a lecture. She was showing us photographs of famous art, and I said, she got to the Goya, a particular Goya painting, City on the Rock, and I raised my hand, and she said, what is it? And I said that just can't be by Goya. And she said, what are you talking about? It's in the Harry Abrams book, and there's monographs, and it's very famous, and it's in the Met. I said, I don't care. It just can't be a Goya. And she insulted me and began to tell me, look, how old are you? And I said, well, I'm 17. I think I'm 18. She said, have you ever seen it? I said, well, in books. She said, so you're telling us that it's not a Goya. Why? I can't go on with this. Let's go on with history. And I said, no, I want to talk about the Goya. And she wouldn't let me, and we had a fight, and she threatened to have me expelled. And then she blocked my enrollment after that semester with a painter I wanted to study with, Tomasini, And she said, well, don't worry about it. You're not going to be an artist anyway. Great. So here I am, that was 1965, and now it's 2022, and I've been an artist ever since. But here's the epilogue. 10 years later, I'm sitting in a garden in Cuernavaca, Mexico, and a friend of mine, a sculptor from the Philippines, he's reading Art Forum, and he says, did you hear this thing about the Goya? And I went, oh, you mean like City on the... He said, yeah, they took it to be refurbished and cleaned and restored, and they found out it wasn't a Goya. And I said, well, right, it couldn't have been a Goya. And it isn't. And because it's worth millions and millions of dollars as a Goya, the museum tried to resurrect the career of the person who painted it, who was an assistant to Goya, and had a fight with Goya about the very thing I was talking about. And I'm not going to talk about the specifics of painting because it gets too weird. So that I intended to tell you something altogether different tonight, and I did this, and I'm just going to stop right now. That's it.